I'm pretty sure at this point we've all experienced anxiety on different levels. I personally have experienced it on so many different levels, from smaller to more manageable forms of anxiety to extreme, like I'm jumping out of my skin, I don't know what to do, I'm freaking out, panic attack anxiety, like you can't breathe, like your heart's racing, you don't know what's going on, that kind of anxiety. Obviously that is the worst one and you kind of feel like, oh my god, like am I gonna live? But any emotion you feel, whether it's a lower emotion or a higher emotion, especially anxiety, is here to give you a message. It's trying to alert you to something going on within you. It wants you to heal something. It wants you to understand it. It wants you to work with it. It wants you to honor it. It wants you to see it. And the more intense it is, the louder it is trying to send you the message about what is going on within you. What do you need to do to help you? Hey, it's Julia. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. This video is going to be very off the cuff today, but I've been experiencing a lot of anxiety, which for me, it happens here and there depending on like what I'm going through in life at the time. I can experience different types of anxiety. I know I shared with you guys on here that I have really bad OCD, and that does cause me a certain type of anxiety, but it's very different than the type of anxiety that's like, oh my god, like I can't breathe, like my heart. I experience that anxiety more in like a attachment style situation. That's when I experience the more panicky anxiety. The anxiety that I experience with OCD is more just a fear, a phobia, an avoidance type of anxiety, as opposed to like the freak out anxiety. I can get to freak out mode when I'm in an OCD episode, but normally it never really gets to that point. It's a lot more smaller and manageable because I avoid so many of my OCD triggers. But if I were to throw myself into all the OCD triggers, I probably would experience the panic anxiety, but I just haven't gotten to the point where I feel ready to start going into those emotional states while healing my OCD. Hopefully someday soon I will choose to do it and go there and heal that, but right now the type of anxiety that I'm going to be talking about is the more panicky anxiety and attachment styles, because that's what I've been experiencing a lot this week. And I want to share with you guys what I've been doing to sort of manage it, heal through it, sit with it, feel it, like allow myself to feel it, allow myself to be with it, but also not allow myself to completely sabotage all the good things that are still going on in my life, even though I feel uncertain about a few things that I care about. So to paint a clearer picture for you guys, in my past, when I would experience the extreme attachment style anxiety, I would literally like self-destruct. I would negate all of the positive things that are going on in my life and only focus on what I'm feeling anxious and uncertain about, and then spiral into it and catastrophize and literally sink myself into a depression from that anxiety. And also, while doing that, dragging everyone around me into this whole fear state that I'm in, taking them on my fear journey. If it was a person that I was attached to that was making me feel anxious, dragging them into all of my anxiety and blowing their phone up and making their life pretty much as miserable as I was feeling. So that was how I used to react to extreme anxiety. And in that mode, I couldn't see anything else. Like I couldn't see all the things that were positive in my life, all the things that I was grateful for. I couldn't see other people or take them into account. So I would be creating codependent styles of relating to the people closest to me, being like, I need you, I need help, I need this, I need that. Like I just give it to me because I am not okay. Like basically not considering other people and operating from a selfish point of view. And by selfish, I mean in a negative selfish type of way, not like a self-loving way. In a selfish way where I'm just not taking others into account and I'm only taking into account how horrible I'm feeling and I need help because I can't manage. I don't know how to emotionally regulate it, which wasn't fair to the other people around me. It doesn't necessarily invalidate the way I'm feeling because the way I'm feeling is valid, but the behaviors I was acting out in weren't in integrity with the person that I want to be and the person that I am, and the behaviors themselves were not justified or valid for the emotion. Like the emotion was there, it's valid, I need to honor it, but the behaviors of dragging everyone into my spiral of uncertainty and acting out, lashing out, whatever, if I didn't get what I needed or the care or whatever, the reassurance that I needed, if I didn't get that, then I would lash out, and that wasn't fair there either. I say all that to say, the way I deal with my anxiety now, even if it is as extreme as it was before, I listen to it. I acknowledge it. Maybe I do reach out to a trusted friend or my therapist or whoever I feel like I can talk to about this in a respectful and considerate way. And let's say my connection with another person is contributing to the anxiety. Well, let me literally emotionally regulate and figure out what all the parts within me are trying to communicate to me first. Let me process, and then let me go to that person that I have a connection with where the anxiety is stemming from and let them know and try to problem solve with them with all of the things that I have figured out on my own first, and not lash out, not attack them. Literally go to them in like a, hey, I need support. Like, here's what's going on with me. This is nothing against you. How do we figure this out as a team together? So that's what I have figured out that works. But getting to that place was really difficult. It took me 2.5, maybe 3 years of trial and error to finally figure out how to process my anxiety and communicate it. And I feel like the past month or two have been very telling for me in how much I've grown, because I've had to face a lot of different anxieties in an interpersonal connection, and I've had to go within myself and figure out what's going on within me, figure out if it's even worth bringing the other person into this, if this is just a me thing that I can solve on my own, which some of them were, and I did do that. And then the very last one, the one that I feel like I'm kind of dealing with right now / yesterday, I had to bring the other person into, and I had to look at myself and be like, can I communicate in a respectful way towards me and this other person? Which I feel like I did. And so when I walk away from that situation after, even if there's still uncertainty, I can still be proud of myself and be like, well, I used all of my skills from DBT therapy. I used my self-awareness. I tried to take them into consideration as well as myself, and I did the best I could. I'm sure there's more room to grow and expand and be more conscious, be more aware, be more loving, be more considerate of me and other parties involved. But I can look at my growth and be proud of it. Feel confident that I am getting better at communicating, that I am doing the inner work to get there, and that the inner work does work. It takes a lot of time, but it does work. And when you see it working, that's when you can start to feel good about yourself, even while in those lower emotional states, like anxiety, like depression, like fear, like sadness, like pain. When you're able to handle and manage those lower emotional states while doing it in an integral way, then you can move out of them a lot more quickly. So although I've been feeling uncertainty and anxiety, I know that how I'm handling it and the way I'm communicating it and the way I'm listening to it, being with it, experiencing it without literally tearing my life apart. Like, I'm still filming this week's video. I'm still gonna post this week's video. I still have been doing all of my Snapchats, which I do daily. I post like almost 100 snaps a day. If I'm still doing my work, if I'm still showing up for my family, my friends, the people I care about, and I'm feeling lower emotional states and handling them with care and grace and gentleness with myself, I have no reason to make myself feel worse. I have no reason to not feel good about myself or self-loving, because I think the most important thing is to love yourself through it all. If I were to go ahead and start tearing my life apart, you know, being messy and just being like, this one thing that I care about so much is like uncertain and could be messed up, let me throw everything out the door, well, that would just mess up my life and make everything worse. And there would be so much less hope in that. We're going through something right now, but we're going to get to the other side, and it's not going to be this whole tornado. It's like, all right, so we're anxious about one thing that we care about. We're unsure, we're uncertain. Or maybe something happened and we're really sad. It didn't work out with a person that you wanted. It didn't work out with a job you wanted. You didn't win whatever you were trying to win. You take that really negative experience and you don't let it ruin everything else that's going right in your life and well, then you can move through it faster and get to a place where you can get what you want quicker. So I'm very proud of myself, because in my past I would tear everything down, but I am feeling this strong anxiety, and actually the more I talk to you guys on camera, it feels like it's lessening, because I am doing what I know is good for me to do and good for you because you get to watch it, and I'm giving back to myself. I'm loving myself, and I think the more that you love yourself in all the little ways that you can, even when you're going through those really tough emotions, it keeps you stable and it keeps your life in a positive direction And the thing is, in life, we're always gonna go through contrast. There's always gonna be something you like with something you don't like. You have to take the good of the bad. So when it comes down to it, you have to choose your positive consequences with your negative consequences. And when you get more aware of both sides of the duality in this world, it gets easier to choose what will work best for you. And it does lower uncertainty when you're feeling anxiety because you can kind of look at it more as a holistic picture. So let's take the example of being in a relationship where you have anxious attachment and the other person is leaving you a little uncertain. Maybe it was some weird text or you guys had a fight or whatever it is, but you're triggered and you're feeling anxious. If you can look at the whole picture of it and see, okay, here's the relationship, here are the positives of it, here are the negatives of it, here are the things I know, but there's also many things I don't know. So whether it works out or it doesn't work out, I'm gonna be okay because one, I have all the amazing things that I have going on in my life still going on, and I was living this great life even before this person, or even if this person leaves, I'm still gonna be living this great life. Two, making sure that you're acting in integrity with the person you want to be. Are you lashing out? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? You check yourself. And if you aren't, and you're being true to the person, the most authentic version that you want to be, without dipping into limiting beliefs and stories about yourself that probably aren't even true, it'll make it a lot easier for you to handle the anxious attachment that you have in that relationship. And sometimes you may need to look at that and decide, like, is that relationship even worth the anxious attachment that comes up, depending on how often it comes up for you. Maybe it's not worth it. Maybe you could find a relationship that doesn't cause you to feel this type of anxiety. I know when I was in one of my more toxic relationships, that was something I had to decide because I would feel that anxiety so much to the point where I ended up becoming more avoidant towards the end, and I started exhibiting and experiencing avoidant behavior. So in a way, it kind of flipped, but I would flip back and forth from the anxious to the avoidant in that same relationship. So it got to a place for me where I started to feel numb because it was just so much negative feelings that at a certain point I just was like numb to it. Anything negative would happen and I would just be like, oh, again? And for me, there was a lot of other things that also went on to make me end that relationship, but if I looked at it from that point of view where it was like, am I feeling more positive than I am negative? Can I heal in this relationship with this person? If the answer is no, then you gotta go. If you can heal in the relationship with the other person, if you guys can support each other and bring each other up and build, I say stay in it, and then you can heal your anxious attachment. They can heal maybe an avoidant attachment. You can heal whatever you need to heal together. But if you can't do that with another person, there's no point in staying involved. Separate yourself and heal yourself. And maybe that means healing yourself with another person in the future. Maybe that means going to therapy. Maybe that means watching more YouTube videos. Maybe that means reading some books. Maybe that means meditating, going within yourself and figuring out more things and becoming more self-aware. Maybe it's all those things together. But the thing is, you wouldn't know any of this if you weren't triggered in the first place. So we have to really be grateful for our triggers, even no matter how uncomfortable and painful they can be. They are here to help us. They are here to show us what within us needs to be healed, needs attention. And if we can look at them, honor them, listen to them, and feel them, then we can heal them. So that is it for this week's video. I will see you guys all in next week's video. I love you. Bye.